So got this HR28 here. So if I switch it on, it starts. You can hear it starts the controller. If I press the enable button, I can hear the motor is running. So the function is working here fine, working fine from the base controls. I could start the engine, but if I switch it to the cage, now I switch it on to the cage controls, I hear the click, I got the X, and I got all these warnings coming up. Loads of errors. All those error codes seems to be linked to the canvas. So there is a problem with the cage. So let's have a look inside the cage console. Some of the cage now. So what I will try to do, we'll try to open this console here and then see what's inside, because what I think was happening is either way something to do with this drive joystick, okay, or maybe something with the connections, because the machine is working fine from the base controls, and that would mean there is no major issues with the wiring, like a short circuit on a canvas line or something, or the faulty components, and it's more likely to be localized here in the basket. And what happens when I switch to the cage controls is that I'm switching on the relay on a PCB board here, and that enables the drive joystick. Okay, so and I think when the drive joystick gets enabled signal, then it starts to disturb the canvas communication. That's why I think it's something to do with the drive joystick. So let's open that and then we will see. So here at the back of console, all connectors seem to be in place. All looks fine. So drive joystick here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to disconnect this plug. Okay, I disconnect that, so we have no connection to drive joystick, and I will start the machine from the base controls just to see what's going to happen if we're going to get the same errors. We should get only one error saying the drive joystick is missing. Okay, let's start the machine up as before. So we're expecting to see okay, machine switched on. Now go to the cage controls. Okay, got one error code only, or well, we don't know yet, but I think it's going to be only one. Yeah, 01C2. So that's the difference. So it's making a difference. Then we know that the problem is linked to that drive joystick or adapter. Let me just check that error code. What does that mean? So if you go error codes 01C2, so 01C20000, and that is, yeah, there is no canvas communication with the drive joystick, and that's because we disconnect the joystick of the system. So I will try to see if I can just swap them quickly, just see if it's actually the joystick or adapter causing the troubles, and we're gonna go from there, I guess. So remove the plug, and I have seen signs of corrosion on this corner, and actually this white and green wires are the canvas communication line. You see this here as well, can low and can high. So that's maybe was the problem. So we'll put a new adapter on and I'm gonna test it. All right, so I replaced the adapter. Let's start it up. That's turned on. Let's go to the cage controls. That is looking better. Yeah, I think that's all good. So I will do some function checks from the cage. Okay, so hopefully you can see a screen. So I will do onboard diagnostics here. So I have a joystick position in the menu, and if I move the joystick, you can see it's actually working. Okay, steering left, steering right, trigger. You see all that comes up just fine. If you go to pedal positions, you can see all of them centered, which that's the way it should be. and as I move, you can see it's changing. I mean, you possibly can't really see clearly because of the display, but look, I will try to show you again. So if I move that, you see that one is actually changing. Okay, so I'll do the quick check on all of them, making sure they're all working fine, which they are. Nope, the wrong place. Yep. So that's all good. So I think it's only that adapter causes the problems. And if I look into, let me see if I can set this up. If you look there in that corner, I just can see the corrosion here, and actually that corrosion is visible on a pin. You possibly just can you may can see it, may not, but it's on the top, on the bottom left pin, there is a marks of corrosion. So because it is a canvas line, so small things like this can cause a disruption. If you lose a can low, for example, and then you would kind of start to generate error frames in a canvas system. So that's an error frame counter, and you can see there is 0 error frames, and it's just scanning canvas messages. And a little bit just to see if I can get them coming up, but 0. And I will try to put the old adapter back on, so just to show you what's happening with the error frames in the background. Okay, so I'm running a counter now. It does have 4 errors on it. Okay, so if I move this adapter, this is the old adapter, so if I move this around on this white and green wires, that's the canvas wires, that should start generating errors if you can get to the right position. Look, I just moved it, and look what's happened here. It's gone up to 18. So if I get, look, 41. And all of you guys are doing, just moving these wires here, look. So the machine is still operational because the error frame is going up, but they're not going continuously up, and they possibly not as fast as it should be to trigger the fault, because there is a counter, and based on those error frames you can go into faulty condition and generate a lot of errors. So look, 220. I'm just trying to see if I can get to the point where it's continuous. So I got this kind of in the right position. Now it's going up without even me touching it. And that's what's happened. So you come to the machine and then you switch it on. We enable the joystick, and then we're getting this kind of errors in the canvas. And that eventually gonna break the communication, and the PLC gonna give you all this random communication errors. And yeah, it's simple fix here. In this case, I'll replace adapter, clean the contacts on the connector, just making sure that everything is okay there. I'm gonna scan about this error frames just to see is nothing there with the new adapter, and we're gonna say it's fixed then. Just for comparison, so look, I have 1018 errors, and I just put a new adapter back on. I will try to move around just to see if I can get any sort of errors triggered, and it should be none. So if the wiring is good, then none of the movements should trigger any errors in the communication line. Okay, and that's what's happening. Look, so I'm moving this adapter quite a lot, and it's just sitting there at 1018. So I'm pretty sure there's no gonna be any more problems with this machine, and it's gonna be working fine. It's just being able to find that connection, and sometimes it can be as easy as today, but sometimes you can have a bad connection somewhere on a CAN line and just really struggle.